Look forward a little bit. Ortega against a Korean zombie. I might make a separate video about this because I'm running out of time. I'm conscious of the time, and I just want to talk a little bit about this fight because this fight got announced like 2 years ago. Might be exaggerating, 18 months ago, something like that. And then obviously there's been injuries and things like that, which has delayed it. And in that time, Brian Ortega slapped Lincoln Park, whatever his name is, J Park, whatever, I don't know, some Korean pop star or something, who happens to be Korean Zombie's mate. And the beef between them intensified. I just quickly want to talk a little bit about Ortega. So it feels like the internet has started to hate Ortega, and I don't know whether it's because of this slap to J Park. I don't know whether it's because the girls love him. Like he's like one of the he's like a pin-up when it comes to UFC fighters, and I don't know whether MMA Twitter dislike him because of that. I can't personally see a reason to hate the guy. Like I liked him on his rise up the division. I liked him when he went in to fight Holloway. I liked him after he lost to Holloway. But I just feel I might be wrong. It just might be my perception. It might just be what I see on the internet. It's not a true reflection of what's going on outside in the real world. But I just get the feeling that there's this level of kind of hate towards Ortega, and I just can't quite understand it because he just seems like a stand-up nice guy, to be honest, and a guy who I really enjoy watching. I love the way he fights. I love the heart. I love the grit. I love the determination. And those are three words we can use to describe the Korean Zombie. And that's why this fight is so good. Like, I would be so excited about this fight if there was no needle, if there was no beef. But this little edge of beef just kind of puts a little cherry on the top of the cake, So yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. Let's have a look at their records quickly. I just quickly want to talk about firstly, obviously, Brian Ortega. I listened to an interview he did with, who did he do? It was Brett Okamoto? Oh no, it was his like pre-fight press conference thing, and he was talking about the changes that he's made in his camp. So obviously, after he lost to Holloway, he was saying that he was in the lift or the elevator, if you're American. Straight after the fight, I think he's going up to the hospital. I don't know where he's going. He was just in the lift. He's in an elevator. And that's the moment he kind of knew he needed to make changes in his camp. He spoke about knowing that kind of before the Holloway fight, but he didn't because he was on a winning streak. So he thought, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So his whole team has changed. The only person that I believe has stayed in his corner is Henry Gracie. Now, Henry Gracie has tested positive for COVID, so Henry Gracie won't actually be in his corner come fight night. I don't know how much this will affect Brian Ortega. So I heard Daniel Cormier talk about this, and Daniel Cormier said, well, it shouldn't really affect him too much because his strongest suit when it comes to martial arts is BJJ, and Gracie is his jiu-jitsu coach. So if you're going to lose one of your coaches, it's best for it to be the guy that that coaches you in an area that you're strongest, right? It makes sense. That's a logical observation. The only thing that I'll say is it's a bit kind of like when your whole camp has changed, right? All your training, all your kind of coaching staff has changed. The one guy that you kept on board, Henry Gracie, that's like a constant, That's a guy that's known him from his first fight up until, whatever fight of his this is. This is like his 13th fight, is it? 14th fight? Let's check. Brian Ortega, how many times has he fought? Yes, so this will be his 16th fight, I believe. Let me double check that. Sorry, this will be his 17th fight. So he's experienced, but his rise up that division was quite quick. And I don't know, there's something to be said about familiarity. And that corner of his will be all new faces. And I don't know if any of those faces have been in his corner in prior fights. So in terms of giving him direction or giving him tips on what he can do better during, in between rounds, fine. But getting into his head and saying the right words at the right time is something that I believe Henry Gracie knows how to do, just because he knows Ortega so well. Ortega's been coached by him since he was a kid, sort of thing. So I feel like that might be a big miss, especially if things aren't going his way during the fight. So that's something to keep an eye on. One thing that Brian Ortega says he's excited to show is the developments in his stand-up skills. So he's a guy that has always been ballsy when it comes to you know, the stand-up game. A guy that maybe wasn't technically sound, but he had, again, heart, grit, determination, and he didn't mind getting involved in a war. Speaking of wars, Korean Zombie's a guy that lives and breathes wars. He even done military service. That's how much he loves wars. That's a shit joke. But obviously, look, he had a gap in his career because he had to go back to South Korea and do, you know, military service and whatnot. So, but his fighting style, I think he's improved in the sense that I think he's improved his technical stand-up skills, and he's less open to taking a shot, to landing his own. He'd rather not take a shot but still land his own. Do you know what I mean? There's a much better, more concise technical way of saying that, but I hope you guys get what I'm trying to say. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it because I can't. Both of these guys are guys that don't wilt. They don't wilt under pressure. Like when they're put under pressure, they fight back. They fight back. They run towards fires, and I honestly, I'm really excited about this. This is like in this new kind of phase of Fight Island fights. I'd say this is in the top 3 of the fights that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm really excited, and I can't even give you guys a prediction. But because that's what I do, I'll just say I think Ortega takes it. I think Ortega takes it. I can't even give you guys a sound, logical explanation as to why I'm making that prediction, because I think this is a very close fight. It might just be because I'm a fan of Ortega's. I don't know. But one thing that I quickly like to say is, in my head, I feel like Korean Zombie is like a youngster, like he's a young talent. But then I was looking through his fight record, and I was shocked because there's fights that I remember him, like a fight against Leonard Garcia. And who remembers Leonard Garcia, ex-champion WEC? Mark Hominick. He fought Dustin Poirier. Like, this was back in 2012. Do you know what I mean? And I think that gap in his career to do military service has actually done him some good, because would he still be fighting at this level without those two and a half years off? Like, if he carried on fighting during that period, would he have made the improvements that he's made, and would he still be able to technically fight at the level that he's currently operating at? Who knows? Maybe that gap actually done him some good, because at the time I was sitting there thinking, bloody hell, 2 years while he's in his prime. It'll be difficult to come back. But he's come back, and he's come back a better version of himself. So hats off to Korean Zombie.